This is the Musketeer Coach's Show, and it's right here on Fox Sports Radio's 620 KMNS. Curtis Anderson with you, along with the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers. That is Luke Strand, and from the weekend, Sioux City had two big games. They came away 1-1. Right now, the Musketeers are down to 11 games, and they need to catch up to the sixth and final playoff spot. And can they catch Lincoln? I don't know if anyone can catch Lincoln. They might finish in first at the end the way they're playing. But Tri-City, they're 9 points behind them. They have 2 games with Tri-City left, also a game in hand. Those are all things to look at as we get down the stretch in exciting hockey in the USHL. Sioux City 22-21, 4-2. That is good for 50 points. And Tri-City, if you're looking at up the next spot, 28-19, 1-2. And so you look at that. What do you talk to your players about the standings in the playoff race?
Well, the urgency.
Yep.
Of what it is and what's ahead of us, but at the end of the day, Chris, it's about us and our play, about our next step forward. And I think if you look at the weekend, I thought we played really well. I know I don't like the outcome of Saturday at all. None of the players do. But we talked about it pretty hard on Sunday. You play the law of averages, and you're going to play well and lose, or you're going to play well and win. And we played well and didn't get the win on that Saturday, and the response on Sunday was good. So it's a next game process for us, and is there you're not going to stop someone else from winning, so all you can do is win yourself.
Yeah, concentrate on each individual game. You start thinking about a streak or anything like that, you're probably going to be in trouble, aren't you?
It just gets your brain off of things you can't control, and they got enough in that whole bank of things anyway. So why even put that in the front of their brain? Let's focus on what we can take care of, what we control, how we perform, how we prepare, and then go from there.
Well, and it's going from there. 3 games coming up this week, and Friday is going to be at Des Moines. Saturday will be at Waterloo, and Sunday will be home against the Fargo Force. But before we get to those games, let's talk about the weekend of games and the Sioux City Musketeers. We'll look at that Saturday game. It was a 6-3 loss to Sioux Falls, and it's hard to explain because I thought, in comparison to other games, I've seen all your games, you played a really good game, but lost. I know there's an empty netter made it 6-3, but say 5-3, you were still in the game, although some weird stuff that went on.
Yeah, I mean, situationally, the parts you don't really sit well in a coach's craw are the idea of scoring first and then giving one up, then scoring, then giving one up, and having that tug of war happen. Take nothing away from Sioux Falls, talented offensive team. They score. They've been effective that way. I think they've got some scoring balance in their group. If you're telling me we're going to outshoot someone 44-24 and pretty much triple the chances against the other team and come out on the downside of that, I'd be shocked. So I think we did our moments of what we needed to do to win. Now we got to take care of winning itself. And at the end of the day, it's one of those situations where you don't like the outcome, but if you're going to live in the outcome, you're asking for a lot of trouble.
Well, I look at it, and yeah, you did outchance them. You possessed the puck. You did all the great things in that game, except for maybe 3 things that stick out. When I talk to coaches, I talk to you, I talk to anybody, giving up a goal at the end of a period.
Yep.
How about back-to-back goals at the end of a period? And then giving up a shorthanded goal, period.
Yep.
Are things that are the wild cards that go into dominating a game that change the outcome.
You do, in those management areas of a game and the criteria that it takes to win a game, and those are boxes that need to be checked. And not checking those boxes, you are definitely putting yourself at that advantage to flip a coin and see, what direction it's going to land on. So the back-to-back at the end of the first, they were a pretty big shot in the backside for us. So our response. It was good. I mean, I thought we just kept about our business and just, unfortunately, didn't keep it on the net.
Well, I look at the punches you got in, like those goals and stuff like that, and you guys still came back and played hard. And it has to hurt even more on that last goal of the period with it looking very offside. You know, at least that's what I look at. That has to hurt more, though, doesn't it?
It does. It's aggravating. I mean, there's no question on that. But, you know, again, that's for me to argue. I don't think it's for our players to feel bad for, et cetera. But you're not going to change what they think, as we're finding out more and more. So you got to deal with it. But at the same time, the shot in the foot, the back-to-back at the end of the first, within the same minute, that's just not a formula.
Yeah, it's not a formula. And then a lot of people had asked me questions because I had tons of questions on the shorthanded goal. Where to be honest, I didn't see any kind of hook by your player at all in that play. And if I'm that player, aggressive player, I'm coming in heavy on the goal. But to me, I mean, the other side of the coin is, looks like he kicked it in. He crashed a goaltender because he was not pulled or yanked down or anything like that. And so not only they call a penalty on you that gets waved off with the goal score on a kicking. They crash your goaltender, which has been called a penalty all season long, which I don't always agree with, because if you have possession of the puck, I think you should be able to bump a goalie in a crease. But it's been called all season long. And then to boot, you get a bench minor because it's very frustrating. It was like a kick in the face, and everyone looks at it differently. That's just the way I looked at it, and that's a tough thing. But now turn around, you can comment on this, is how well your players came back and played hard again.
Yeah, they did. Obviously, they comment on how it occurred. And
well, that's just what I saw. You know, and I'm not going to put you in a position like that, but that's the way I saw it. I know a lot of people saw it that way.
Yep.
I know your players might have saw it that way, and they came back and played gutsy hockey after that.
They did, and obviously I've spent enough money to the league. So
yeah, I mean, there's no need to talk about it, but the idea of the rebound from that, you could have lost all air in the sails.
Oh yeah, no, that part was good. I kind of, you know, maybe the judgment of the call was maybe a little bit of the motivating factor. You'd never like to say it as a coach. Taking the bench was, for me, a little frustration, but the point for me, it had to be said. Like, so, which it wasn't even a point. It wasn't even a family member.
I think
I've said worse. I can tell you that.
I know you've said worse.
I've shared feelings that are different than what was expressed. But you know, for that part, as a coach, sometimes you're like, yeah, it's time to just step up and back up your players, and that's what had to be done. And you don't like to put your team in that situation, but for the response of it and for the pushback and for that moment, I mean, you're still talking. I think we still dump in 20 shots after almost 20 shots, 18 shots after that penalty occurred. So,
yeah, I liked your gutsy play back by that team. And you come up short, you do get the goal, pull your goalie, had some opportunities, they get the empty netter, it's over, that's fine. And you have to move on. And then I was really kind of interested to see how the team would react, because I see your meetings, you're saying all these things that they're doing, and they're doing great on Saturday. But if it turns out to be a loss, as a young player, it's kind of hard to keep going. They did the same. They played a hard game right out of the gate on Sunday.
They did. You know, I think you got to give. I'll give the leadership a ton of credit in it. We had a pretty good that sucked on Saturday. That hurt. So I thought our week was very productive, and enough things were talked about, done enough meetings, roles, situations. Everything was covered, and then not to get the result, I think, in your fortune was stinging. So their response on Sunday was a huge answer about the character of that room, and at the end of the day, the competitors that they have inside of us.
You guys like to score early. I like it when you guys score early, and
it was a great answer.
Great answer, great setup.
That probably was the one of the motor. I mean, obviously we had a motor going before it occurred, but it definitely is a spring in your step, I think, to get out the gates the way it was. Great breakout. You get, you get Clearman and Johns to get out of a scrum situation, and Dylan Mills to get it off the wall. And the fact that Sammy Walker caught that pass in full flight off his foot to his skate, and then him and Keps on the rush. 2-on-1, the pass was exceptional through the stick and body, and good for Kep to bury a big-time goal at the right time, and good for Sammy, because it's the adjustment that kid's made from when we watched him here in November till March. Crazy difference.
Yeah, he looks terrific out there, and he can skate, oh boy.
He's got some giddy up.
The answer on that one, that was kind of the tough one. Is looked like Crosby got on top of it and kind of got skewered from underneath him a little bit. That's, again, I'm putting you in another position, but to me, I thought he was on top of it long enough. But it's whatever the whistle gets blown.
I was always the. I thought once he lost sight of it, it blew. But
it's a thought. I even asked Crosby where it was, and he goes, "It was right under my chest."
Yeah. Maybe with the wrestling mat, you got is it 3, like bang, 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 that type of thing. So
1, 2, 3.
You get the 3 count. But, at the same time, good for Crosby because it was a tough play. The battle of the scrum.
Yasuchi made an awesome play because I think he was showing short side, and then he ended up going around.
Yeah, he goes all the way around and tries to jam, and then give their player Cates credit, like he stuck his nose in there and stuck around and play. And I guess the answer is to maybe get some barbells and Crosby so he can't be moved like that. I guess I don't even know what to tell you, but you know what? Their response, but. That's how it went, but I thought as a period, as it grew, I thought we were better and better.
I was just wondering, is Wilkie kind of like what Jay Verity did? Was like someone was out of the lineup, he just threw he never believed in us. He just kind of threw that number, and he'd go, "Oh yeah, they're not playing together, but I just didn't want to move it over on my chart."
Potentially.
Yes, something to that fact.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he doesn't play over there, does he? Yeah, he's not going to play over there. It's just, I didn't want to move things around on this thing because go off the board or something. Might misspell someone.
It's hard enough to keep up with the stats on this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's get a break in. We got to talk, obviously, the 3 games this week. 3 games, 3 nights at Des Moines, at Waterloo, and then home at 3 o'clock on Sunday. And that's Fargo. It is the Musketeer Coaches Show on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS.
Imagine a college where you can find more.
Musketeer Coaches Show is right here at Bob Rose Point. After, I can tell I'm at Bob Rose, Luke, it smells awfully good in here.
The pizza.
Yeah, can you tell? There's some pizza going on? The
pizza's on the go, and the party's started around here.
Yeah, it is always really good here. We didn't jump into complete what Crosby. Tell me how good he was coming in to help out his teammate and kind of his mentor in a way, because Jerusik, and then turning around and having just a solid game on the road against a highly potent Omaha team.
Yeah, I thought the Saturday performance at Crosby was very calming for our group. He came in and made a stop there pretty early in what he was doing, and I think at that point we can all close our eyes and remember seeing him in Muskegon and being on fire that Friday night, and that was the calmness he saw out of him on Saturday. So to go to him on Sunday was easy, but the place to go play in on a Sunday against maybe we were a little bit down on our luck because of the night before, but he sure stuck us in there for a really long time in that game.
Now, of course, people will go, God, he had played a great game. Who do you start the next game? And obviously that's your decision coming up for Friday, because you have the guy that's really been a leader of this group in Jerusik, and then the young guy, the youngest goalie in the league. And then I forget, wait a minute, you're in that little tiny little space called the Des Moines Buccaneer Arena, where things can be scored from your own goal line across, because it still is a grade A shot in there.
Yeah, and
if you look at the last time you guys were there.
I was hoping you didn't go there.
Well, but you know what I mean.
It's funny. We just watched the video, and I had marked out like clipped out saying like the difference of goals, and 3 of their goals in that game went off the end wall. And it does happen. It's like pinball machine there. So, I thought Crosby's earned himself more ice, and he's going to get it, and he's just going to continue to perform for us. And I know Matt is, I'll say it, he's maybe fought it here a little bit of late, and at the same time, he'll be a big piece of the puzzle here for us to march on and do what we want to do.
Well, our goalies fight it sometimes.
They do. They're supposed to. I mean, pitchers don't throw no hitters every night, so you're going to have your times when you're going to have to outscore someone. We have to get to that page for our whole group, and but not to take away with the conversation with Crosby, because he was very good. I think he's got a calmness about him because of his technically he's very sound. He's very square. He's very boring might be the right word to say, because he doesn't usually have to use the dramatic to get some things done. Although he's got the ability with his ability to stretch and do different movements. But
like the shootout?
The shootout was.
That was amazing.
It's funny, we had...
Does he have rubber legs?
Well, Cliffy was in town, so Cliffy with the whole goaltending, and one of my...
Shane Clifford, for people that don't know, the goalie coach, I always mention him. So, he's been my color commentator a few times, too.
Color would be the right word on that whole thing.
Colorful commentator.
I'm assuming on that part. So a couple of the NHL guys asked, was that what you see at a cross and shootout? I'm like, in practice, but he hasn't been in a shootout this year, you guys. So he just had a very simple manner about him, and proud of him. Like that's a tough arena to step into in a tough situation, and he handled it with the glowing results.
Well, with that shootout, that would be your 9th shootout of the season. That gives you 7-2 in shootouts, and overtime you're only 4-4, but you add those two totals together, you've had extras quite a bit this year.
It has. I mean, I think we've probably two sides to it, whether or not we've got a group that's got separating offense, like as far as numbers go, so that you're going to play those tight games and to find different ways to win. I mean, even the 3-on-3, 4-on-3, 4-on-4 of the overtime there with the power play and the penalty there, that was exciting hockey. Like, there was 10 shots in overtime, so between the two teams.
That was nuts. There was some
too many shots, but that's
it happens with that space.
It's just giddy up and go.
Musketeer Coach's show is right here at Bob Rose Point after as we talk Musketeer hockey with the head coach, Luke Strand. Let's jump into Friday real quick here. It's been a long time since you have taken on Des Moines. The Buccaneers come in with a record of 18-25, 4-3, and I kind of scratch my head with no offense to anyone down there, but that's a good hockey team with a below 500 record.
I think they're dynamite. You watch what they've got as far as their size and their skill, and they play hard. So obviously they haven't had the fortune of some good bounces here or there or some off nights, and we're going to have to try to make them have another off night just with one, possessing pucks, because it is a tight space and you got to manage the game properly there, but two, just with we got to have some resilience about going back into that place which didn't treat us necessarily well the first time, and not really caring about what that felt like or what that was, and just making it a new night for ourselves.
Well, and just things happen in a hurry, and I guess that's where it comes. And so that's the old saying, rains, it pours, and it can pour real quick here, because once they start getting blood in the water, they come out for blood.
I think a lot of things pour in Des Moines in that arena, don't they?
Some in the beer variety, is that what you're saying?
But they've got a great crowd. They're into it. They're on top of you.
They hate your guts, which is great.
You got to evaporate the energy out of the building by playing the right way, and obviously you want to try to play from the front. I mean, there's been some times here in their games where they've been fragile, and we want to make sure that we can try to put them in that situation again.
Where is their downfall, I guess? Because it looks like the Werbeck kid, Napravnik, Hallinan, I mean, these are guys that were doing well last time you played them, too. And if you look at their points, 38, 34, 32 on their top three guys, and they've been playing together. You looked at video. Are they giving up too many goals?
Well, they're giving up some goals. I mean, I don't know if they've got as much secondary scoring as maybe they wanted to, but that first group was dangerous. They've got, when they play together, even strength, they're over they're almost 40 goals even strength, which I don't know if we've matched up against a line yet to date that's been 40 goals. I think they've been power play opportunistic. They do take their share of penalties, so if you can take advantage of it, it is in your favor. And then you got to get after the goaltenders, because their goalies can be dynamite red hot, and then there's times when I think you can catch them maybe not being as great as they've been. So, but that's on the team. You got to get on the attack on those parts.
Yeah, because I even like their blue liners, and that Bricky has been a very good player with Muskegon and now in Des Moines, and he's their top scorer on the defense. I don't know. I guess there's always these different factors that goes into it, and hopefully that factor stays for Friday.
Yeah, it could stay for the next couple of weeks. At least against us, right?
Yeah. So, good luck to everyone but us.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a talented group. I think Dave's a heck of a coach, so hopefully we can put ourselves in a spot. And I think our group may be different since the last time we played them. I mean, you're going to have we'll still have Pospisil still suspended, but we've got a little bit different look, I think, than we had the last time we played them.
Well, and I know we're going to take one more break here, but I got a feeling your team is gearing up to also get ready for Waterloo, because that one snuck away from you. A couple of Waterloo games where you played really good hockey, and just a couple bounces, it hurt.
It is, and got to get to Saturday through Friday, so we got to take care of that. But Saturday will give us a big-time game. I think we'll see a little different Waterloo team on Saturday as well. I mean, Finkelstein was out, and he's been dynamite as a defenseman for them as a college transfer, a Florida pick that has added a ton of offense for them. He's a skater, he makes plays, and so they're going to have a different squad too, and we got to take advantage of what we can put out there for ourselves. I
think he was defenseman of the week this last week.
Both last 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, whatever. I mean, what's he got, like 2 points a game as a defenseman?
Yeah,
the games he's been in.
You're going to find him delivering pucks to tapes and delivering a ton of pucks on that.
Let's get a break in. We'll come back. It is the Musketeer Coaches Show, and it's right here at Bob Rose Point After on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Curtis Anderson with you, along with the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers and Luke Strand. Musketeers in action Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 2 on the road, 1 at home. Friday at Des Moines, 7 o'clock. Saturday is at Waterloo, 7 o'clock. And then Sunday, 3 o'clock at home against the Fargo Force. Live coverage of all 3 games is right here on 620 KMNS. And getting ready for this one, for people that haven't had a chance, it's really kind of interesting, and see how they keep progressing in this last stretch, and get your comments on Bobby Brink and Sammy Walker and how they've fit in.
They definitely fit in. I mean, they're 2 different style of players per se. I mean, they both have great sticks and offensive instincts, but Sammy Walker might be one of the only kids I see to get. He skates faster with the puck.
Okay.
He's got some acceleration, some pull away.
It's like he wants to get there.
Yeah, it's impressive what he can skate like, and what that skating's created. And he's obviously got an offensive stick to follow that up. But his instincts offensively, Sammy gets the puck, seems to be attracted to what he's doing, and let alone he can close and get it back pretty darn quick.
Brink on the other side, I think he hit tape every time.
Brinker's a dynamic, great vision, exceptional passer.
But he hasn't even played with Micah and Ronta much, but he anticipated.
He does. He's got the ability to hold on to pucks. For not being a very big guy, and he's not a burner by any means as far as fast and speed.
And he's young.
He's young. He's only grade 10. He's only grade 10, but he's got the instincts to protect the puck. He's got the instincts to move a puck, and he can separate the 2. He knows when and when not to, and most importantly, he knows that he can find tape. If I was playing with him, I'd just have my stick on the ice, because it's going to hit it.
Yeah, right on tape, not on skates, not on
I mean, you look at some of the plays and passes he's made in the zone, I get it, because then maybe he's under control. He does a great job of allowing a defender to push him along because of his body position and posture. But even like on the entry with back pressure on his legs, arms, or back or whatnot, but still finding seams through people's sticks and bodies on the attack is impressive.
Well, those are two new guys, and then you're going to have this new guy on Saturday. His name is Martin Pospisil. The depth that...
I want to see him play quick.
It's going to be interesting what that chart looks like on Saturday then for you.
Yeah, Saturday, I mean, it's...
pushes guys.
Knock on wood, hopefully everyone's healthy and able, but yeah, I think it's going to slot some guys in some different spots again, and... you know, you look at Fordo has been playing exceptional hockey, and then you add two other centermen with Brink and Walker, and you have already moved Leibold over to the wall, and Koepke's kind of not having to play center for us, which is he's done a great job at center, but he's produced more at wing. And then you put Poss back in, and pretty soon I really liked what Sabota, Fordo, and Neudecker did together on Sunday, and but that's where Poss has played. So we got to figure that part out. But when we get to it and see what bodies are available, we'll have it figured.
Well, on the other side, too, even on the backside, you have some nice depth. And I really think, okay, so you bring Koepke in. I think it gave great depth, and it made the younger players even better. And then Clearman's the other one who comes in. You knew you had Brady Ferner, but I thought Luke Johnson, I thought Dawson's played very well as a first-year player with you guys. Babbage, Ernberg, they've all played better. And it's probably because of depth, huh?
It is. I mean, I think you get both. You get situations in their favor, and I think you get ice time in their favor. But early on there was those times and moments where they had to play because of injury or different scenarios are paying off now, and I thought Babs is just continues on his course to being a good player and a really good player down the stretch for us here. And Luke Johnson for me has played exceptional. So you know, we've got our steadies, and not to take anything away from Ferns or Koepke, that's for sure, because they've done a great job and they match up against the other team's top end players often. But Clearman's allowed that to happen. But the Ernberg and Dawson, as long as we keep progressing that way and get some goaltending here down the stretch, we just got to keep putting our foot down.
Seems like you're more aggressive on your D as of late, too. A little more pushing.
Well, I mean, there was just a slowness and confidence maybe that when I think there's two sides. One, I think when you got good goaltending and you can be a little more aggressive in front, you feel like that. If you've seen or felt like some pucks leak by you, then sometimes you back off and you're a little less aggressive and more maybe passive defensive almost. And right now they're finding different ways to do it. And as long as they want to make those neutral zone kills, it gets us in a good spot.
Well, coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, best of luck. We'll see you at the bus.
Come watch Pospisil play. Hopefully he's playing Sunday.
Hopefully. At 3 o'clock. Skate with the players afterwards.
That'd be good.
And all that fun stuff. So that's going to do it for the Musketeer Coaches Show. Of course, catch live coverage, 620 KMNS, iHeartRadio, Hockey TV. And if it's on Hockey TV on the road, it means you can get it at Buffalo Wild Wings. And Buffalo Wild Wings are always a great place. TJ and the gang do a terrific job over there. So, but hey, another terrific job is, boy, they're packing up here right here at Bob Rose Point after. It is your sports show, and it's right here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS, Sioux City.